WFYI podcasts are made possible by Bloomington, Indiana, an American college town offering experiences like indulging in grub at Nick's English Hut, taking a stroll along Kirkwood Avenue, feeling the history and magic of Assembly Hall, and providing the chance to feel like a college kid again. Plan your trip at visitbloomington.com.
I'm Kyle Long, host of Cultural Manifesto, just one of the local music programs you can enjoy on WFYI. These programs would not be possible without your financial support. And to say thank you, we want to send you to see Lyle Lovett when he comes to Indianapolis on July 28th. Choose a concert ticket as your gift when you donate at WFYI.org/give. And thanks for supporting WFYI.
This is WFYI News Now. It's June 20th, and I'm Abriana Herron. On today's show, an analysis of the impacts of school choice, a judge's injunction halts Title IX rules in Indiana, how community involvement ensured access to care after a rural hospital closure, and Indiana Democratic gubernatorial nominee Jennifer McCormick says what's at stake in response to Micah Beckwith winning Indiana's GOP lieutenant governor nomination.
We cannot turn Indiana over to extremism.
Those stories coming up. But first, the last stretch of upgrades to natural gas pipelines are underway on the east side of Indianapolis. Citizens Energy Group announced Monday the start of a multi-year project to replace 4 miles of natural gas pipelines in Avondale Meadows, Martindale Brightwood, and Far East Side neighborhoods. The president and CEO of the Edna Martin Christian Center, Barito Britt, touted the improvement plans in a press release, stating, quote, "The safety of our infrastructure systems is critical for our neighborhood's vibrancy." This year's pipe replacement work will focus on the area between Fall Creek Avenue and 30th Street. The utility company received a $7.5 million federal grant last year to replace the legacy infrastructure with steel or plastic pipes, which are more resistant to leaks and corrosion. The replacement infrastructure will also reduce the potential for emissions of methane gas. Citizens Energy said it will continue to invest in, quote, utility safety upgrades in neighborhoods that need it the most. School choice has never been more popular in Indiana. Nearly 1 in 5 students attend schools outside of their home district, according to a new data analysis by WFYI. That's up from 1 in 13 a decade ago. Reporter Zach Castle has more on how all forms of school choice are impacting public school districts.
The analysis reveals that more public school districts were negatively impacted by students who transferred to other public options than by private school vouchers in the recent school year. Combining these forms of choice creates winners and losers across the state. Nearly 2/3 of districts are losing more students even as they gain them from students who transfer in. Districts have to make tough decisions about school closures, staffing, and academic programs when they lose significant numbers of students, because state education funding follows the student in Indiana. But about 1/3 of districts benefit because they gain more students than they lose from choice options. I'm Zach Castle.
For interactive maps and to learn about other findings from the school choice analysis, go to WFYI.org/news. New Title IX rules that would enshrine LGBTQ plus protections in Indiana schools were recently blocked by a U.S. District Court judge. From WFYI's Education Desk, Rachel Fredette reports on how a state lawsuit could delay the rules on sex-based discrimination.
The judge's preliminary injunction halts the rules in 6 states. Attorney General Todd Rokita and other attorney generals from GOP-led states have challenged the Biden administration's new Title IX rules. Title IX prohibits sex discrimination in educational programs and activities. The judge's opinion says the Federal Department of Education overreached when they expanded sex to include gender identity. A spokesman for the department said they are reviewing the ruling and they stand by the regulations. The new rules were scheduled to take effect in August. I'm Rachel Fredette.
When a critical access hospital in southern Indiana closed in 2022, healthcare leaders invited the community to contribute to a response plan. Indiana Public Broadcasting's Abigail Ruman reports several of those leaders say community involvement was an important part of ensuring access to care.
Healthcare leaders only had a few months to create a plan before Ascension St. Vincent Dunn closed in late 2022. They had to quickly identify and solve challenges that are unique to rural communities. Nancy Radcliffe is the CEO of Southern Indiana Community Healthcare, one of the organizations that helped develop the response. She says people need to be informed about what resources are still available, but getting people that information can be difficult.
The community was talking about it, yes, but there was no public newspaper anymore, okay? And there was one radio station for marketing.
Radcliffe says community partnerships helped healthcare leaders find ways to connect with patients and understand the community's biggest concerns and address them. For Indiana Public Broadcasting, I'm Abigail Ruman.
And for our final story today, Indiana Democrats are trying to capitalize on the opportunity they see in the governor's race after Republicans nominated self-proclaimed Christian nationalist Micah Beckwith for lieutenant governor. Indiana Public Broadcasting's Brandon Smith reports Dems say Beckwith's nomination exposes serious cracks and divisions within the GOP.
Democratic gubernatorial candidate Jennifer McCormick is a former Republican office holder, and she says Republicans nominating Micah Beckwith is the kind of thing that made her leave that party.
We cannot turn Indiana over to extremism.
McCormick faces a huge financial disadvantage in the race against Republican Mike Braun, but she says resources have been coming in more easily since Beckwith got the nod.
But also, we are very strong in a grassroots coalition. So we are relying on those folks who will go talk to their family and talk to their neighbors.
In a statement, the Braun campaign calls McCormick a dishonest progressive and says Braun and Beckwith have a vision to improve Hoosiers' lives. For Indiana Public Broadcasting, I'm Brandon Smith at the State House.
That's all for today's episode of WFYI News Now. Today's podcast is produced by Zach Bundy and Drew Dodlin with support from the news team at WFYI and public media journalists across the state. Our news director is Sarah Neal Estes. Kendall Antron produced our music, and I'm your host, Abriana Herron. If you like today's episode, remember to subscribe and share, and follow WFYI on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube to check in on our newsroom throughout the day. Thanks for listening. We'll be back tomorrow.
WFYI podcasts are made possible by Bloomington, Indiana, an American college town offering experiences like indulging in grub at IX English Hut, taking a stroll along Kirkwood Avenue, feeling the history and magic of Assembly Hall, and providing the chance to feel like a college kid again. Plan your trip at visitbloomington.com.